And just seeing how this relates to the wider picture, as sort of Vinny mentioned when he did our intro, like, what are the wider societal ramifications of not getting this stuff right? I know that's quite
a big question. I mean, it's sort of all publishers rely on advertising. We recently announced our results for the end of last year, and whilst we're less reliant now than we were, less than 50% of our revenue is advertising. Our readers fund the majority of our revenues. It's still not far off 50%, and that's a big chunk. And so advertising is still really important for us, as it is for all publishers. So to ensure that advertisers' money is going through the supply chain and going towards working media and landing with publishers is fundamentally important for us as an industry to continue to do what we do. If we then take the, go even up a level, and to answer sort of like your question and where Vinny was saying at the beginning, it's the question of how important are news brands in the world today. And I think it's undeniable that certainly in my lifetime, which is a reasonably long time, unfortunately, I can't think of a time when news brands have been so important as they are today. Or with the rise of the right, with Trump accusing all sensible news outlets of being fake and lying and trying to undermine him. News brands are as important now as ever. Often talked about as being the I've just completely forgotten the words. They've got often, we're so important for society. We are a fundamental pillar of democracy. And what I guess I sometimes get disappointed by is when I think about Silicon Valley and the friends that we've got out there, and you listen to some let's move fast and break things. Well, friends, yeah, they are friends. Yeah. And they give us some challenges and headaches as well. Yeah. But they talk about moving fast and breaking things. And I remember hearing a quote from a disgruntled member of that community who said, "I think we've moved fast and broken too many things, like the load-bearing walls of democracy, because of the impact that a lot of what's happened in Silicon Valley has had on publishers." Now, you might argue that's too extreme, but it does show the importance of getting this right.
Yeah, because just to give us a bit of an idea, like what kind of resource, how much does it cost to break a story like Cambridge Analytica, which obviously The Guardian broke? Can you just give us a bit of an idea of what that costs you?
Well, I mean, I don't know the answer to that, so I can't tell you the answer. But what I can tell you is investigative journalism is expensive. For the simple reason that you have to take a journalist or a group of journalists, you have to take them out of the newsroom, you have to lock them away in a room where nobody else can go because what they're working on is secretive. No one else can know about it apart from a small group of people. And you have to allow them to have the space and the time to do what they do. And that could take a month, 6 months, a year. You don't really know how long these things are going to take. So taking precious and incredibly valuable resource out of the newsroom for an extended period of time is expensive. And of course, at the end of the day, you don't know what you're going to get. You obviously go in there thinking you've got something, but you don't know what you're going to find. And so there's a risk. And so, news brands have to, well, we see that as an investment. And of course, the more that the advertising money dries up, the less there is for that sort of journalism. Now, we're determined never to stop investigating and to continue to be at the forefront with Cambridge Analytica, Panama Papers, Paradise Papers, Windrush. These are big stories that have changed the world and made a huge impact. And we're not going to stop. But you can see a time where, other news brands may be forced to stop. And as we know, democracy dies in darkness. And, news brands provide that light, which is why it's so important.
What about the role of, well, I suppose everybody in the supply chain? We've spoken before about people taking accountability up and down, publishers, advertisers, vendors, agencies. Do you feel like everyone is taking responsibility for their part in all of this?
Well, that's a tough one, because so many of them, we rely on so many of them, so I don't want to badmouth them so publicly.
I'm sure you can find a diplomatic way of
yeah, I think everybody could still do more. I've spoken publicly before when I was speaking at the ISBA conference, and I said, I genuinely believe it's incumbent on advertisers to drive this. They're the ones who hold the money. They're the ones who ultimately sign the checks and make the decisions. They're the ones who need to really drive home the importance of ensuring that money goes to working media and not trickling out to line the pockets of, VC companies in Silicon Valley.